There we go. Got our 6-ton floor jack underneath there. We have our opposite rear tire blocked up. I have my floor jack underneath there. Just take a little bit of weight off this axle. Now what we need to do, you need to gain access to this knuckle. So we need to take brakes off. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the caliper bracket because that has to come off. The rotor comes off. Hang on, where you at? Tie rod end has to come off. And the drag link end has to come off. So, let's bring it back. And, well, for me, it'd be 10-15 minutes. For you, it'd just be a couple seconds. So, we'll be right back. Tie rod and drag link are disconnected. Brake caliper and bracket have been undone. Now, this brake line actually goes inside the end of the axle, so I can't really move that much more out of the way right now. Rotor comes off. And one of our next things, the axle nut and the 3 bolts that retain the wheel hub in from the backside. One thing that makes this job so nice is being able to have an impact that can handle getting this axle nut off. The axle nut is a 36 millimeter. If you don't think it's worth the money of getting a 36 millimeter socket, you should not be doing this kind of stuff. Most every Jeep that I've come across from 91 to 2004 uses this size axle nut. So you need one of these. If you own a Jeep, you need a 36 millimeter socket. It's worth the investment. And good impact. Sadly, right now, I got a bad connection underneath here, and it works intermittently. That made quick work of that axle nut. To use a 13 millimeter 12-point socket. Now you see it's kind of grungy here. I coated this area with PB Blaster because these are a pain. You need to pay attention to this last thread or two that actually sticks out past the housing. You need to clean them with a wire brush and spray them down with penetrating oil. This will get you every time. You draw that dirt and that rust into these threads, you might as well just call it a day. Now, normally, as I understand, I have yet to have the problem, these hubs can get wedged in there super tight and don't ever want to come out. I normally have an extra bolt. I keep this extra bolt in the toolbox. I thread it in and I hit the backside of it lightly with a hammer, just to dislodge, just to give some dislodging, and then I spray some penetrating oil in there. Take this out, put it in one of the other holes, give that a light tap, and it usually pops right off. One of the other things is these splines have a tendency to rust solid in the hub, which makes getting this out difficult. Luckily for me, this time, the hub came apart for some unknown reason, which is a good thing because I have a replacement. Yummy. Look at that. Alright, we need to get that axle shaft out of there without destroying everything. We also need to be mindful of the ABS sensor. These wires were in the way all the time while working back here. We need to get this axle shaft out. Axle shaft was carefully removed from here, making sure not to drag any dirt back on the end of the shaft. We set the shaft off to the side. We removed the cotter pins from this ball joint and the upper one, and we have threaded the nuts on, a couple threads. Now, one thing we must take in consideration, our ABS sensor is still intact. When removing this steering knuckle from these ball joints, we must take care not to damage that sensor. I could remove it, but the bolt on there is rusty. Rusty as can be. This is a New York vehicle. Now, last thing I need to do is try to get that bolt off and have it snap. And then we're going to be doing other video repairs. We're not going down that route. We're going to carefully remove the steering knuckle, keeping that mounted. We're going to take our brake caliper and our steering knuckle and hang them over here out of the way. So right now, hey, hammer time! We need to hit here. Alright, brake calipers hang over there. Steering knuckle hanging there. Notice there's play there. Now we gotta deal with this guy and this guy. Well, this guy seems to be a little more worse for wear. There's like nothing there. Here I can hear the play. This steering knuckle was ready to leave this world. So we get to one of our favorite tools, the ball joint press. You need to get one to cover up and go around that joint. You need a cap. I'll tell you what, well, I'll bring it back because I need both hands. I'll bring it back when we have him all ready to get pressed out. Okay, there's our setup. I always opt to do the top one first because I don't need to go down here for anything. It makes it so much easier to get that one out of the way, and then you can get to this one if you have to access through that hole right there, if you have to. Now let's give ourselves a 7/8 wrench because that's up there pretty high. I can't get in there with the impact. I don't think I can get in there with a breaker bar. You know, a long 7/8 wrench. Start putting some pressure on him. Hopefully he pops out. Okay, that's what I was talking about. Top joint comes out. Now we can gain access to this bottom joint. This bottom joint presses out that way also. Little trick that I like to use, I have a piece of old inner fender well that I trimmed, because you have a Jeep, you're going to trim your fender wells. I have it wrapped around in there to protect this surface from the tool. Now all I need to do is crank down on him and push him through. Now I'm going to give a little squirt of PB Blaster here. As I'm cranking down on this, I will tap on here with a hammer and on the side here just to give a little jostling and help that joint to start moving. So I'll bring you back. Whew, all right, a little bit of PB Blaster around there and a little persistence. Got the breaker bar on top of there and put so much pressure on it. Took the breaker bar off and I was reaching down for the hammer. I was going to give a tap on the top of the puller and give a tap on the side. when this thing let go and it sounded like somebody shot a handgun. Scared the daylights out of me. Crank it down a little further and popped right out. So now what we gotta do is we gotta clean up these inner races here before we can even think of installing anything in there. So I'm gonna get my little wire wheel on my drill and clean that all up. Got a wire brush and clean the mounting surfaces so everything goes on nice and clean. So I'm not gonna bore you with that, so we'll bring you back in a couple minutes and show you what we got. Okay, got the new joint. I have him hand pressed up in there. I took our lower portion of our installer, pushed it up on there and tapped it up slightly just to keep it in there. Now you gotta make sure that these go in straight. If they go in crooked, it is a royal pain in the butt to get these in then. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a little zap PB blaster in there. And that should aid in that joint sliding up in there. So let me get you back when we got our installer in place. Sometimes old school is the best school. Like I said, we had put our piece on here and tapped it up in. I sprayed some PB blaster up around here. I said, well, I'm going to tap it up a little bit more. And it went in so nicely, I decided to ram it on home. So, old school caveman sometimes works. But it does help to have the right kind of stuff to help. You look on the top here. The manufacturer was nice enough to provide a bolt here to cover up the grease hole. We do have a grease fitting. So that one is installed. Let's see if we can get as lucky with our upper. Like I said, we'll be back and have that started. Alright, we gotta deal with the sun coming around here now. Was unable to start this in with the hammer. This top one is splined. So we're compressing it down the best I can till that gap right there disappears. So let me go crank up on the handle up here a little bit at a time and get him where he's supposed to be. See you in a few. Alright, there we are. I'll button back up. Got our new axle nut on there, new hub, new ball joints. Everything's back where it belongs. Everything's all greased. That needs to be greased, and that doesn't need to be greased has been degreased. So let's just go to the tire bag on and take it for a spin. Hey Hank, sounds like a plan. Well, as you can see, those ball joints were pretty bad. Guess we're gonna call it the end of the video for this time. Wind's picking up, the clouds are starting to they're starting to roll in now. We're gonna be getting a storm soon. So if you haven't already, please click the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up by liking the video. If you have anything to say, any comments, questions, concerns, criticisms, please feel free to leave them in the comment box below. So, for Everyday Off-Road, I'm Mike, out here in the open air garage. Shall catch you guys later.